We are live.
Well, good evening and welcome to what is actually going to be an historic event. It may not look like much, give you that, but we've got the technology to be able to reach out to more people with more ideas. And I think that most of the public agrees we need more ideas than the fake fight beyond and bickering between the Republicans and the Democrats. They've been destroying our society. So we've got people who have had the courage to stand up, put their name on the line, and offer themselves for public service. And I think Billy and Michaela, in this case, I think you're outstanding for doing that. I know what it takes to run for office. It's not easy. There are forces against you, and it's not paranoia that tells you that. It's legislation. When like the Republicans wanted to bump all third parties, but in particular the Libertarian Party off the ballot, and they've been semi-successful. So it's important that we get the views of other candidates, because I think a lot of people just don't want to vote for a Republican or a Democrat. And we want to know where other people stand. Are there some other ideas out there? And I'm certain that you folks are going to find out that, yes, there are some great ideas out there. Tonight, we have a debate with Billy Pounds, and you're with the Green Party.
The Independent Green Party.
Okay, I just want to make sure I got that part right. And Michaela, how about you?
I am a write-in for the Libertarian Party.
Very good. I knew that. I just want to make sure our audience knew that. Okay, let's hear some ideas. We'll start with a little bit. How about maybe 5 minutes? Tell us about yourself as a candidate. What do you offer the people of Arizona, and why are you going to be the best choice in November? Michaela, why don't you start us off?
You're muted.
Yeah, she looked like a politician there for a second. Her lips were moving, but she wasn't saying anything.
I appreciate that. Sorry, I've got littles who keep trying to join the meeting. So I am a libertarian, and I believe that the best way for us to move forward is for both sides to come together and start compromising. You know, there's good ideas on both sides of the fence, and if we don't start working together, there's not really a way forward. So basically, my biggest appreciation for the Libertarian Party is the idea of leave each other alone, get along, and don't take their stuff.
Can you tell us maybe a little bit about you and some of your particular ideas? What would you do? You're elected. You're now in the governor's office. First day. What are you up to?
So I think my first couple of topics would be border security and protection for abortion rights. Those two, again, both sides of the spectrum, we all have rights, and right to safety and right to making our own healthcare choices should be the best for everybody. And so I would start off the bat with just making those things happen, and working with our Senate and our House, and just to make sure that all of our citizens feel that their rights are being protected and watched out for.
Very good. We'll come back to those issues, but I just wanted to do an introduction, and that's what we're up to now. So let's move now to Billy Pounds of the Independent Green Party.
So yes, that's me, William Pounds, Independent Green Party candidate for Arizona governor. And so a little bit of background information. I'm not a seasoned politician. although some have paid me the compliment or insult of being one. But so some background, some political background. I worked for Jesse Ventura on his presidential exploratory committee in the year 2020, and I was his co-chair for that committee. And I've worked for former US Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, and I am a researcher by her side, working on a great deal of academic projects. And now I'm a candidate for Arizona governor. And, I would like to refer now away from my political background to my personal and professional background, is that I spent most of my professional career as a caregiver, as a DSP and a DSC, a direct support provider, not provider, professional and direct support coordinator, managing group homes, working in group homes with our developmentally disabled, and creating opportunities, and really growing our future, particularly when it comes to the group homes that I've worked in for children, not adults. I've worked in both. And I've seen this system be entirely neglected. I think it's one of the most neglected systems that we have operated, funded by our government. Caregiving agencies don't really seem to give all too much a damn about the people that the state has paid them money to take care of. And that has been my repeated experience throughout every company I've worked at. That's probably going to be among one of my most pressing priorities if advanced to the governor's office.
Okay, let me ask you the same thing. You were just elected. Today is your first day in office. What are you doing?
So a big part of my platform has been, I think it's been the building block, actually, the main building block, has been my Billy's Solar Dividends plan. And this is, this should have been done ages ago, I think, given that we are the state of the sun. And I believe that we can really escape the effects of inflation, not by giving forever money out to citizens, but giving our natural inheritance of the profits that we could gain from the electricity made from our all-powerful Arizona sun. The number that I have in place is $500 per month, using the profits from international and national sales of Arizonan solar energy. And there's just been a lot of lackluster when it comes to this front. It's outrageous to me. It's outrageous to me that the legislature will just posture and fake around.
Billy, let me
this, and I just want to conclude this by saying we can do better, and that's why I want to bring us into doing better than what we're doing.
I wanted you to bring you back on topic to what are you going to do your first day in office? What physically are you going to do? How do you start the Billy Pounds
administration? The governor has control of 30% of the state budget, of each fiscal state budget. And I want to use one fiscal year's state budget of the 4 years, given to me, to advance my state solar energy apparatus, to start combating the effects of the Biden price hike. I think this is the most prescient issue on people's minds here.
And how will that affect the average person?
I mean, I think, a great amount of what's happening is, we're dealing with a lot of printed money that's kind of damaged the economy in a way. On top of, I don't want to just say that the stimulus was I don't want to say that was a bad thing, but we've had, repeated, government stimuluses to corporations rather than people. The people got the tiniest slice of the pie when it came to COVID stimulus. And that's outrageous. That's our money. And if we can afford to fund a losing war in Ukraine, and if we can afford to do all these things, we're not going to get it from the federal government. I want the state government to start providing for Arizonan families and to start getting rid of empty tables. I want full tables this Thanksgiving.
Okay, your time is up. We were just exploring. Now let's go back to Michaela. Michaela, you mentioned border security. Exactly what is your vision of what is border security?
Well, so much of the drug trafficking comes through the Arizona border. There's safety in mind for our border communities. I had family that lived in Wilcox, and they experienced the dangers there firsthand. And so what I feel we need to do is go ahead and finish that wall. Governor Ducey has made an attempt to do that. But I think that the way that he is going about it is perhaps not the best way. So if we're able to go ahead and finish the wall along the Arizona border, it should mitigate the flow of influx from the cartels, weapons that belong to the Arizonan people that should not be going back and forth to aid in criminal empires. And it would help our border patrol be able to focus solely on the points of entry and not have to go from one side or the other, trying to make sure that the illegal immigration is stopped on their own. They need our help, and we need to provide it to them as the state of Arizona government.
And so it's just the physical aspects of building the wall is your vision for border security and how we should handle it? That was a question. Michaela?
I'm wondering if she's frozen.
Are you frozen?
Typically stem or that, but it also provides a sense.
Hold it, Michaela. You were frozen. We didn't hear you.
I might be. I'm sorry about that.
And so please go ahead with your answer. You're frozen again.
I'm sorry about that. So let me see. I may just have to do this without video. That seems to work the best here.
Okay. Go ahead.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Okay. So the physical aspect also provides a feeling of security. We do need to provide any aid that the Border Patrol officers need, as far as any training, as far as better funding for the Border Patrol. But as long as they are able to concentrate their efforts within a certain area, if they're able to put all of their actions and efforts into a single, well, for example, like one port of entry instead of focusing on 100 miles of open desert. And I know that there are more points of entry than that, but just as an example, it should help them be able to concentrate on just maintaining all of the security in a general sense, from one side of the border to the other, or one end of the state to the other, from California to New Mexico.
So are you saying we should keep the same policies that we have now in terms of allowing people to come to Arizona, perhaps to seek not necessarily asylum, but to seek some sort of employment? What are there anything that you can talk about on that level of stemming the tide? Because we don't want to encourage illegality. We want to, I shouldn't be saying this, but we want to make it easy enough that there's no such thing as a coyote to take advantage of people. And at the same time, we want to make sure that decent people can come in who are not carrying contagious diseases or a background that shows them violent toward others, but allow them the employment. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely. They do contribute to our society, and we should not, you know, we were founded as a country with open arms, and I don't want to hinder that. But at the same time, we do have to protect the safety of our citizens as they are here, that are already here. And the people who are already here that are working towards citizenship. Those are the people that are our primary focus. But at the same time, we shouldn't shut out those who are also seeking a better life and are looking to legitimately work with us and become a citizen of the great state of Arizona.
Okay. Billy, what are your thoughts on border security? What would happen with the Billy Pounds administration? Build a wall, change policy? What would you do?
So, for one, when it comes to the issue of border security, I'm going to ignore the supremacy clause of the US Constitution when it comes to disgusting gun running like we saw with Operations Fast and Furious and so on. I think this is one aspect of the drug war that has really fueled the Southern migration crisis. I think that the drug war itself has fueled the migration crisis, and quote unquote intelligence collecting operations like Fast and Furious, where criminals end up with guns just for no. I don't want the government to be distributing weapons of violence to criminals. That is not one thing that should be done. But with regards to the drug war, I want to I want to be clear that this is really specific to the border security issue for me. Okay. The drug war has just encouraged this black market where demand has been built for these cartels. I want the government to treat this as a public health issue instead of a criminal issue, so that we can finally end this prevalent demand for cartels and the violence that they promote to increase our immigration way beyond the pale.
Let me ask you this. If we have the wall, what about the use of drones, which is now becoming very prevalent, to carry things over the border in the places where nobody's looking? What about those kinds of things? The guns, the drugs, it's all coming over. And we'll soon be seeing people in small drones coming over. They just fly over, it's done.
Motion sensor technology needs more investment, for one. And through the governor's office, I hope to provide that investment at a reasonable amount.
Okay, Michaela, what about that issue of that? And it can also incorporate the tunneling under. There are all kinds of tunnels, but drones have become apparently the transportation of choice to bring it now heavier and heavier loads over the wall out in the middle of the desert. And if people are concentrated, or if our forces and security is concentrated just on the doorways, as you were suggesting, how would that mitigate the problem?
I'm sorry, Barry. It did cut out on me for a bit. So it's more of allowing it to stem the tide. If they are able to get the better funding and they can focus on those smaller areas, then they can develop, or we can develop other aids. And yes, that is true. As for what Billy was mentioning, the drug war is definitely, it's not providing the resolution that was previously being, that is being projected. And
yeah, I think the question really goes to, what would you tell people to do actually? In other words, what is the policy to allow people into the country? And how are we going to stop the bad apples from broaching our border in areas that are extraordinarily remote?
So I don't know if it's going to be possible to be 100% accurate in completely closing the border. But
Right.
I do think that being able to slow them down and also decriminalizing a lot of these drugs gives them a lack of incentive. If they lose their market, there's not really something for them to come send these things over the border for. But if we also make it easier and safer for people to cross legally, then the coyotes, as you put it, would have no reason, they wouldn't really have a source of their income. People won't need to pay for people to smuggle them across the border and then leave them stranded in a truck in the middle of the desert.
How would you functionally, when you let them in, you just let them in and say, okay, knock yourself out. We don't need to know where you are or who you're associating with or anything. Am I hearing you correctly?
Not at all. And I do apologize if that's how it was coming across.
I'm trying to help you answer the question.
So I would want to basically streamline it, make sure we get the information, make sure we're able to determine that they are who they say they are, but also not be make them feel as if they are being targeted or that they are being treated like a criminal, but that we do get the information that we need, make sure that they get where they are going, so that we're not just, we're not just sending them on their way to try and figure things out on their own.
Okay, I wanted more specific. What are your policies? What are the plans? More along the lines of, what about the big concern is they're stealing our jobs, the under the table workers. How that's really the bottom of what people are angers most people, is that they say, how would you do that?
So I think that that's a little bit more, that's not as transparent as people think it is. They're not stealing our jobs. There are plenty of jobs out there to be had, for everyone. Essentially, if you put yourself out there, you'll be able to find something. And so they're not stealing our jobs.
I understand that. I'm asking you, how would you mitigate that?
I think the best way to um, do that is to come forth and be clear with the people, you know, present statistics. There, I just don't know. Um, Honestly, I'm not sure what policies
Okay.
could be changed right now at this point, but I do know that there is change that needs to happen
Okay.
to be able to fix it.
All right, let's go to Billy Pounds. We got to get him in this thing too. He's been listening in, and now he's got all the cheat sheets going. So, okay, let me ask you the same question about, and it's actually going to come up next. But in terms of the border, you did have your answer, and that's good. But we touched on the drug war. What about this drug war? How do you see it? How do you see it proceeding or ending? And what about the damage that it's done to not only the economy, but to the American family? Taking someone out of their home because they smoked a joint now puts 80% of those people on welfare. And so that they're paid for by the taxpayers, as is the incarcerated individual who didn't hurt anyone. It's just a big money tumble that destroys the family. How do you reconcile that and do what we can to eliminate the drug war, the need for a drug war, I'll say?
So, I don't think that there's ever been need for a war on drugs rather than a war on traffickers, because this war on drugs has turned into a war on the sick. And so I don't want, my advocacy on that particular front to consume my answer on immigration. But it's just, I don't like punishing the sick. I'll do what I can to stop the traffic of these addictive substances, these illegal traffickings. But I want to see a mostly full decriminalization of these substances. I just think that except for fentanyl, I want to keep fentanyl criminal. That's probably the only substance that I want to keep criminal. And so, yeah, the drug substance abuse has affected our workforce. It has affected the taxpayers flipping the bill for welfare. I foresee with me in office, facilities. Oh my goodness, we have 10 minutes left on this thing.
Oh, keep going.
I foresee, unlike Oregon did full line decriminalization. They didn't set up facilities to help with withdrawals. And so with that, I left some, things untouched, but let's do another one of these maybe soon.
Sure. So ultimately, you're thinking eliminate the drug war. I think that is a brilliant plan. And I've got to tell you, just to make sure the audience knows, every place that drugs have been completely decriminalized, including fentanyl, has seen a massive decrease in the use of it and the abuse, and of course the deaths. I mean, we're talking by half or better. Portugal, I think, was 90% down. But in any event, I'm glad to hear you say that, because usually when you deal with a lot of people from the green, anywhere near the green persuasion, they want absolute control, and they don't realize we've had absolute control, and all it has done is expanded the drug problem. Okay, pardon me, but Michaela, what about this drug thing? How far would you go?
I agree with Billy, actually. I do think that everything except fentanyl, it's so volatile.
It's
What
deadly.
exactly. I mean, it could be they could get a pill that has, less than a lethal dose, or they could get something that's way over a lethal dose. It's so unknown that I do think that it should actually remain criminalized, but with a primary focus on the traffickers, those that um, have more than, that they are more than users. It's apparent that there are, um, that they are dealers. Those should be the primary focus um, of the regulations. But absolutely, decriminalization is the right way to go to ensure that those who need to seek help are able to find it without judgment and without it staining their record permanently.
So that what you're saying is you would continue the drug war, but it would be very defined as to against fentanyl. Is that correct?
Yes, and anyone who traffics and seeks to do harm against others, and that's
Now, you do
the
understand
harm against others.
that if it was decriminalized, there would be local production. And with local production, the foreign production is no longer necessary. The black market dissolves. And actually the need, what we're seeing now is that the fentanyl it's not being sold as fentanyl. It's sold as other drugs with fentanyl in them. And it is deadly. I felt the same way. I would urge you to look closer at it in terms of completely eliminating the drug war and all of the personnel involved with it. And the reason is that when there is not a taboo, we see that the uses dramatically decline. And that would include fentanyl, because right now it's exploding and we have extraordinary drug control. It's not going to help to have more extraordinary drug control. So the best thing is, you're right, to treat it as a disease or give people an option so that they have better things to do with their time than sit around stoned all the time. And that's what I think, that's what I would personally think is missing, is a future for the next generation. When I was young, we literally, the world was our oyster. We left college. We didn't have college loans, so we didn't have any debt following us. We were ready to go. Then the feds came in and started loaning money, ostensibly for a good reason. And what did we see? Now we're seeing trillions of dollars in unpaid educational loans because the degree that they got was ridiculous and there's no place for it in the marketplace. It was just a place to go spend mom and pop's money and government money. So that we see that when you get government involved, there's a problem. It's a poison cake. It looks good. It may even taste good, but it's poison. And that I shouldn't even be interjecting. I have my own political views, of course. But I think this is great. And it sounds like Billy says we've got to wrap up here soon. How long do we have, Billy?
So we have 4 minutes, 35 seconds.
Well, all right, let's go with you guys, because you know me. I mean, redundancy is a word that I am often ascribed with, but brevity is not something that's ever been associated with me. So I'll turn it over to you two. 2 minutes. Come on, Billy, lay it on us. Why has Billy Pounds got to be the next governor?
For one, we need to fix our primary system with regard to that, because we have a terrible primary system. Okay, so vote for me. I want to bring the Daniel Shaver Act into passing. I want police reform, and I want to increase payment to police. And I want to reprioritize funding. I don't want to defund, but we need steady reprioritization. We need to get rid of impunity for officers. And we just need to bring the police back into the business, if they've ever been in the business, of protecting and serving. I want to pass my Billy Solar Dividends Plan, $500 a month for as long as my solar energy apparatus is turning up money for people to benefit from. And then I want more trains, less traffic. These are the three main pillars for my campaign. More trains, less traffic. I want statewide, light rail expansion. I want to get the state more interconnected with each other. I want to increase our economic output substantially by doing this.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Billy Pounds, independent Green candidate for governor. So write in, folks, if you see what you like and you like what you see, write it in. It's spelled like it's Billy Pounds, right? Not William Pounds, or how is it listed?
William Pounds, and I made the mistake, because it is my common nickname. I made the mistake of not putting that in my, so.
Okay, we've got to get to Michaela now. Come on, your 2 minutes is up. Michaela, tell us all about you. And how, as a libertarian, you are the best candidate for the job as governor.
So again, unfortunately, you'd have to write it all out, Michaela Lutz Burton. But I am all about freedom. I want people to feel like the government is not out to get them, and that they can afford to live in Arizona. Affordable housing, rent control is something that I want to incentivize. And so that in a way that makes it so that our people can actually afford to live where they want to live. Address the water crisis, make sure that we have enough water for generations to come. And as you mentioned, the next generation is important, but I would take it one step further. Our destiny as humans on this planet is because what we do affects the next 7 generations. And so I want to leave this state, leave Arizona, leave the planet in a way that will be something that people 7 generations in the future will be proud to have come from.
Very good. Now, before we go, and Billy, I'm coming back to you with the same thing. Where can the people learn more about you and your campaign? Do you have a website?
PoundsForArizona.com.
Pounds, Pounds, for Arizona, all spelled out.
Less than a minute. Get Michaela.
Okay, Michaela.
Okay. So unfortunately, I don't have a website. I am on Twitter at Burton for Arizona. I'm on Facebook for Michaela Lutz Burton for Arizona Governor, and I can be reached by email. I've actually gotten a couple of emails so far, but it's burtonforaz@gmail.com.
Very good. Okay, we'll say goodnight for now to the folks of Arizona, and hope you've enjoyed this exploratory session into alternative ideas and candidacies